Hi guys. Today we're gonna analyze the new episode of The Mandalorian that came out on Friday. Here we have Stormy.
Hello.
If you've seen the episode, you know that this episode was one of the biggest episodes of The Mandalorian so far. It was kind of predicted that Ahsoka was gonna appear because Bo-Katan in episode 3 reference her and how Din had to go meet up with her. But well, it finally happened, and I thought it was a really good episode. Definitely one of the best episodes so far, especially special effects. I thought they were really good.
Yeah, the beginning fight scene was
um
crazy.
yeah, when Ahsoka pulled out her lightsabers, I thought they looked really good, especially compared to Star Wars Rebels, and because I feel like they used a lot of the elements fighting wise from Rebels into this episode. Um, what did you think, Stormy, about this episode?
I really liked the beginning, as I just said. I enjoyed the entire episode, honestly. I think it's probably one of the best Mandalorian episodes we've gotten, even including season one, in my opinion. And I feel like to a certain extent, the story, the plot, the lightsabers, like you said, just the beginning was phenomenal. The fight scene and the town was really cool, and the overall story was interesting, and I'm glad they finally gave Baby Yoda a name.
Yeah, I saw some people were kind of um like in between on his name because some people didn't like it. I think Grogu, it doesn't really bother me. I think it works.
And I think another
But
good
I mean,
point. Oh yeah, you go.
I feel like people are still just gonna call him Baby Yoda.
I feel like another good point to make when we're talking about the overall episode, just to kind of bring us back on track a little, is that I feel like this is the first episode where we actually got to see potentially where Baby Yoda stands within the universe. I know that's a really kind of open question that we've been having, but I feel like it points to him potentially being a light side, just with how the episode was set up, and it does kind of concern me that she brings up in the episode where she's like, oh, I can't train him because of his emotional attachment. But I think that entire scene was a good way to kind of draw that all in. And yeah, to comment on the name thing, I think they're probably gonna still call him Baby Yoda. I probably will too.
Yeah. You know how in that sequence where Ahsoka is I guess using the Force to connect with Grogu and I don't know see ho- what happened to him.
Yeah.
Um, I think because she mentions that someone or something must have taken him during the Clone Wars and brainwashed him or they did something because as she said he was a Jedi master, something like that along those lines, and he knew he was experienced, and I'm assuming he could talk just like Yoda could, but I guess something or someone must have taken all that, and that he got revert taken back to this baby sort of position.
Yeah. I don't think it is exactly how you just described it, but I think that they brainwashed his force abilities and probably his ability to communicate. I mean, clearly Ahsoka has no issue communicating with him, and honestly, I think everyone knew that he was probably brought up around the Clone Wars time, but that's actually really interesting. Wonder who would have taken him. I mean, maybe they did it for good, maybe they did it for bad. I mean, obviously we don't know that yet, but it is a little interesting and partially concerning about how they brought it up in the episode. To me, it felt like a little dark. I don't know if you got those vibes too.
Uh, Not exactly. I feel like it would have been darker if they showed like a flashback sequence, but I think it was just I didn't really get that vibe.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of possibilities as to who that could be. It could be like someone from the dark side, like um Palpatine, possibly during the Clone Wars. He just took him aside and like did something, like how he changed Anakin, or it could have been someone from the light side. And I've seen a lot of people hinting at Mace Windu, and
that's what I
like
was thinking.
apparently, yeah, and like some people think he survived like the fall from during that battle with Palpatine, and I think it makes sense, but I mean there's no real clue as to who it could be. There's just theories, I guess.
And I also think it's pretty interesting, um, going on with the whole point that you just made. Like, it could literally be anyone, but like, imagine if it was like Mace Windu, and like he did it to protect him, and maybe intended to train him more. I mean, we don't even know how skilled Baby Yoda was with the Force. I mean, obviously, we see him as a child, so probably not as much as what most people might think, but it's so interesting to kind of see and hear that he was brainwashed and that there's potentially more to his character. Looking forward to hearing him talk potentially though.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's gonna talk somewhat if he eventually talks like Yoda. Just I guess less squeakier. I don't know. I also wanted to talk about near the end of the episode, Ahsoka basically says that she can't really train him, and like cuz she's too Yoda is too attached to him, and basically she tells him that he has to Mando has to take Yoda over to a Jedi temple, put him on like a rock, and he's gonna choose his path that way. And she hints at possibly a Jedi finding Baby Yoda. Who do you think that could be?
Well, I actually have a couple theories. I don't know if I'm gonna end up going in fully depth, but a lot of people have said Ezra. I don't know where I stand on that. To me, I don't really see Ezra as like a training figure. I mean, it's possible. Who knows? Uh, but I feel like the more likely subject, if Mace Windu is alive, of course Mace Windu would be high up there. Um, I feel like everyone's jumping on the Luke Skywalker bandwagon. I mean, it's possible. It's quite possible. The only issue that I see with the Luke Skywalker whole thing is I don't know if he would go out of hiding for that. Because assuming like he's probably not, running around at this point, and we don't know like where he is and that timeline at that point. And at least with Ezra, we knew the whole Rebel saga, which we're assuming to get more and see more of his character eventually. But like, we don't know who's the most likely subject. I mean, it could even be someone new. I mean, there's still opportunities that can be made, especially during the time period that Mandalorian takes place. But we're still pretty limited. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, those are all possibilities, and they could as well introduce, because a lot of if you've read the Star Wars comics, you know that Star Wars Legends, most of it is like retconned and like it isn't really canon anymore. But I mean, it would be interesting to see if Disney would like bring in a possible like Jedi or character from those comics. Because I mean, there's during this time period, which is like about near 5, 6 years after Return of the Jedi. there's not really much Jedi's anymore because most of them are either dead or they're just in hiding. And there's like, I don't know, because it could possibly be Ezra. So I guess they could use Ezra, and in a way that could equal like a sequel series to Rebels, like a spin-off. I don't know. There's a lot of things they could do. Um Also, I don't know if you noticed, but also when Ahsoka was fighting the magistrate, she talks about her like looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Um
Oh, I
do you
forgot
think
about
we're
that.
gonna see do you think we're gonna see him later on?
So I think it's likely, but that actually leads me into another thing. You mentioned the Legend comics, and honestly, Thrawn, like, there's so many great storylines. I'm sure they won't do it in Mandalorian, but there is actually quite a few good characters from that, and wouldn't mind seeing it. I don't really have any off the top of my head, but just him being introduced and mentioned is just a great thing in general. Um, So, and also going with the fact that
There's a lot of plots they can use there.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting regardless of how they do it.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of this discussion. Who do you think the Jedi, or it could possibly just be um, Baby Yoda decides to go with Mando, and he's like doesn't go the Jedi way. I guess we'll see.
Or maybe he goes a Sith way.
Uh, I don't know. We'll see. All right. See you guys.